Our live stream tonight is presented by Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties, with support from Edible Memories Bakery, Marysville, and support from people like you.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.
And a good morning to you from 3rd and D Streets in Marysville. I'm Ted Langdell, and this morning we are going to be talking with two candidates for the Yuba County Water Agency North, people that you have probably seen before and have had some interaction with, perhaps, if you are in Yuba County. Our connection today brought to us, presented by Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties, with assistance and support from Edible Memories Bakery.
Thinking good vibes one day at a time. At Edible Memories, life is sublime. In every bite, you'll find a dream. Join us now, let your heart beam. Step inside, sharing the fun. Edible Memories Bakery, where happiness runs.
Edible Memories Bakery, 321 3rd Street, Marysville. EdibleMemoriesBakery.com. We're here at Christmas Tree Park in Marysville, which is right at the corner of 3rd and D, right where Edible Memories Bakery is. And our guests this morning are Yuba Water Agency North incumbent Charlie Matthews on the left, and former Water District Director and Yuba County Supervisor Randy Fletcher on the right. I'm Ted Langdell, and we will be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.
Thinking good vibes one day at a time. At Edible Memories, life is sublime. In every bite, you'll find a dream. Join us now, let your heart beam. Step inside, sharing the fun. Edible Memories Bakery, where happiness runs.
Edible Memories Bakery, 321 3rd Street, Marysville. EdibleMemoriesBakery.com. And Edible Memories Bakery is right behind us there. You see the interesting little car and the bakery sign. I'm Ted Langdell, and we are here at the corner of 3rd and D Streets in Marysville, where Christmas Tree Park has been holding forth for a while. And we are with the two candidates for the Yuba Water Agency North. That would be Charlie Matthews on the left and Randy Fletcher on the right. And we've got a few questions, but first we want to hear from Charlie. We're going to just start with you. You're the incumbent, and I'd like you to take a couple minutes and tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into water, because you were a water district director beforehand, and why you're running again for the seat that you've been holding for what, 2 terms? Go ahead and pick up the mic.
I'm Charlie Matthews, 4th generation rice farmer. But more importantly, when I was a senior in high school, we filled sandbags the afternoon that the levee broke in Yuba City. After that happened, the people of Yuba County petitioned the state to form a special district called the Yuba Water Agency, and then the Yuba County Water Agency. They then hired an engineer and an attorney to draw up papers to take over the Bullards Bar PG&E Dam, which was only a 65,000 acre-foot dam, and replace it with what we have today, which is a 1 million acre-foot dam. And we gave tremendous flood control to the city of Marysville, Olivehurst, Linda, and Reclamation District 10. The first problem the agency had when they went to bid is that they didn't have enough money for what they wanted to build. So it stripped off all of the benefits for the farming community of water deliveries and bringing back the water table. But anyway, I was involved from the beginning, and I've been involved all my life at it.
So you're a rice farmer, and Matthews Lane is named after the family.
Yes, my great-grandfather came here in 1852. We live on the one of the pieces he had bought back in the 1860s. We now have the 7th generation that's also on Matthews Lane.
So a lot of people have grown up in the area there. So why did you decide to run again?
It's been my passion to be involved in water issues. I feel that I've accomplished a lot over my span, and I think I can still accomplish more. There's many things the agency needs to do to keep in existence.
And we'll get into that in a little bit. In the meantime, let's hear the same sort of kind of conversation from your colleague there, who's been a colleague in the past as a county supervisor. And we'll hear from Randy Fletcher.
So
Take it
Ted,
away,
thank you very much for putting this on. You know, you can't overeducate the public, and appreciate your effort and energy to put these types of events together. So thank you for what you do.
Well, you're welcome.
So
All part of helping the community to know what's going on around here.
very good. Interesting, you know, Charlie started about the mid-50s. What's interesting in Yuba County, this goes back over 150 years ago. Yuba County has a history of flooding, and the community had tried to resurrect better protection for flooding in Yuba County back into the 1800s. A series of dams were built, they all washed out, and it wasn't until the 50s that they actually had the potential for funding to build Bullards Bar. But my background has to do with law enforcement. I grew up in the community. I've spent over 45 years in the foothills. I've been active in law enforcement for over 20 years, and then ended up with the Farm Bureau as an insurance agent specializing in farms. It gave me an opportunity to be involved with a lot of farmers and all of their issues. And of course, one of the main issues is water. Agriculture is the lifeblood of Yuba County, Sutter County. That is our biggest commodity. So water fits in there, and it's really important to stay on top of that. I've had that opportunity to meet with so many farmers, keeping in touch and being an advisor overseeing their farm operations and protection. And that led me to multiple committees over the years, from Downtown Marysville Committee to the Board of Education, to working with the Board of Supervisors on economic development, and eventually to the Board of Supervisors. So I've got a pretty diverse background and experience with the political, the downtown, the business owners, and everything that touches that piece of it. And that's why I ended up on the Board of Supervisors, which then leads you to the water agency. Over that 8 years that I was on the board, I was elected as either the chair or the vice chairman of the water agency by my peers, which really says a lot. They could see the value of what I had to offer, and that's why I was put in that position. During that time, I was also on other state committees that had to do with water and infrastructure. And that's primarily the reason why I'm continuing to run. There are projects that need to continue, particularly in the foothills. I'm the only potential board member that lives in the foothills. Of the other 7 that are on the board, I'm the only one that lives in the foothills that deals with a fire issue on a daily basis. I live it, I drive it, I see it. I've been evacuated multiple times as a result of those fires, and it needs someone to represent the foothill area.
Great. So, a simple question.
Yes.
What is, and we'll pass the mic back over to Charlie. What is the role of the Yuba Water Agency?
The role of the Yuba Water Agency is flood control, water development, environmental enhancement. Since the 50 years was up in 2016, we have now, Yuba County Water Agency receives the revenue from the power generation of Bullard's Bar. And to put it in perspective, PG&E used Bullard's Bar for 10% of their peaking power when they were running it. So it's a very valuable asset to the state, but it's also a very big income producer for the county. And the county, when they formed the agency and decided to sell bonds, the bonds were backed by the taxpayers. Although when PG&E they bid it so they got the power, they paid the bonds, and the maintenance and upkeep and upgrades on the Bullard's Bar for 50 years. We took it over in 16, and the agency has made millions that we've been able to put into flood, not only flood control, but also into infrastructure, and like the curbs, gutters in Olivehurst, Linda, the money that we've helped to get the sewer line to go from Wheatland to OPUD. So it's been a very valuable asset to us.
And same question for you, Rand.
So their primary role is flood control. You know, the foundation that supports the water agency was the passing of the legislation in 1959, and it gives the water agency a model to run on. The agency is very limited what they can spend money on. You can't go out and just spend money non-discriminately throughout the community. Those are public funds, so you have to be very, very careful. If the board were to spend funds that were not approved by the Agency Act of 1959, every one of these board members are liable personally for any expenditure. So, very critical. We'll talk about this here in the next half hour, I suspect, about some of those particular items that can be spent. You cannot spend money just for curbs and gutters without a function that matches the role of the Agency Act. It has to do with flooding and flood control. So very specific that you have to stay on track.
Okay, hold the mic there. We're going to ask you the next question.
Okay.
What is the role of an agency director?
So primarily, it's setting policies and giving guidance to staff. You know, the agency has probably the premier set of employees throughout the state of California that have water knowledge. I can tell you the knowledge that our staff has far exceeds any one individual or even one group. We are well known not only in California but becoming known nationwide. We have some of the best experts, and that's a result of the board allowing staff to grow with specialized individuals. I see my role not as the water expert, but their role as the water expert. It's up to the board to pick the right people, to set the missions, to stay within the foundation of the Agency Act, not to exceed it, but to benefit the people of Yuba County. It's very, very clear within the Agency Act, and it's a guiding light that keeps the board and the funds focused where it can actually be spent. If they hadn't done that, you can imagine turning money over to politicians. Good Lord, that money could go anywhere. But because of the act, it keeps it very focused, and you have to stay on top of that. So,
Okay.
okay.
And our next question is, what is the biggest challenge that the water agency faces today, and how do you propose to address that?
The biggest challenge is we're a special district. As an example of special district was called the Golden Gate Bridge Authority. When they paid off their bonds, they wanted to take the money and give it back to the counties that put the original bonds up. They were told they could not do it. They could only do it for roads and things. So now the special act of the Golden Gate is that they take their revenues and apply them to the highway system. We're in the same position. Flood control, water development, and now since they've had groundwater put in with surface water, we're able also to do things like the sewer lines, and in the other areas we've been in is to improve drainage in roads. So when there's a project, we can't help the road, but we can help the drainage on the road. So these are very fine areas, and the income the agency has is so substantial. I think our biggest worry would be that we would do something wrong, and the legislature, which formed this as a special act, might try to find a way to deform us.
That could end up what? Meaning that somebody other than Yuba County and the Yuba Water Agency benefits from the money that is being generated?
No, the biggest concern, again, is if you violate this act, the state of California could come in and repeal what you have going. They could actually rescind this act, which would affect Bullard's Bar. We don't want to go there. That's, again, stay within the Agency Act and we'll be in great shape. You know, one of the biggest things I see moving forward is fire protection. There isn't anyone in Yuba County, or for that matter in California and other states, that has an insurance issue. There's a connection between the fire issue and insurance. We have got to work on issues that help reduce fire, that will help reduce insurance that affects everyone in Yuba County. One of the projects that I started on 9 years ago was the biomass plant out of Camptonville. Kathy LeBlanc is one of the key figures from Camptonville that she and I have worked very closely through the agency to keep the doors open to keep pushing to build a biomass plant. And we have funded that somewhat over the years, and this last year they've actually put in place more funding to get this biomass plant built. Once that plant is in operation, to eliminate some of the fuels that come from the Tahoe National Forest, it will generate power, make it safer in the foothills, hopefully help some of our insurance issues. And in the big picture, of course, all of this takes time, but it is a methodical, steady pace to put us in a better positioning for Yuba County to have cheaper insurance rates compared to other communities. That's one of several issues that needs to be focused on over the next 5-10 years.
So what is the biggest challenge that the agency needs to address over the next 5 years, and what steps will you take if you're elected to get that to happen?
So without a doubt, the biomass is the big part of it.
Explain a little bit about what the biomass plant is.
So we have the Tahoe National Forest. Several things that I worked on when I was on the board is getting a group of individuals to focus on the Tahoe National Forest. We now have a coalition of members that have agreed that the Tahoe National Forest and tens of thousands of acres need to be cleaned. We're one of the only areas in the nation that's focused in thousands of acres with a plan to come in and start cleaning it. What do you do with the material that comes out of there? Well, in our case, by building a biomass plant, you move that product to a biomass, you burn it, you create electricity, and resolve some of the slash that is creating a problem for our forest. You've got to reduce the fire issue in the foothills, and we can do that within the Tahoe National Forest, and we have the support of the Tahoe National Forest. We've been highlighted on a national level to actually accomplish something from that perspective. The secondary spillway, which is also a potential benefit to the lower valley, is having a lower leveled spillway that can dump water when you have an atmospheric river headed towards Yuba County. We know in advance how much is coming. We can drop water. The current elevation of the spillway is not low enough, so we're looking at a secondary spillway. This will not only benefit Yuba County, but Sutter County, Yolo County, Sacramento County. It has far-reaching implications by doing that. Those two projects, plus Ellis Lake. Ellis Lake is a prime example of we need to get it fixed. You know, everybody has ideas, but it isn't until you actually get something done. You have to have a plan on the ground and you have to start working it. And those are the things that I'll be working on.
Okay, Charlie, same question. What is the biggest challenge that the water agency needs to address over the next 5 years, and what steps will you take if you're reelected to get that to happen?
Going back to what Randy said, we also started a Blue Forest project, which is our seed money that has generated something in the area of $900 million to clean the underbrush in the forest, which makes
Clean
much
up
better
some
fire
motorcycles
protection.
too while you're at it.
And the biomass is one of the projects because they have to haul it now much more expensive to haul it to somebody else's biomass. But these are things that we're doing. But the things we have to concentrate on is to leverage the revenues within the act so that Yuba County can benefit. And we've done this by many ways that I mentioned, of tying the flood control and water development together. The thing that we have to worry the most about is that there's 70,000 people in Yuba County, and there's 40-some million in the state. And the income we're making, the 44 million would like to have some of it, and we have to be very diligent in finding ways to put it to beneficial use.
Great. So, moving right along here, want to mention that the program that you are watching is the Yuba Water Agency Candidates Connection for Yuba Water Agency North candidates, and we're talking with Charlie Matthews on the left, Randy Fletcher on the right, asking them a number of questions to try to find out a little bit more about their perspective on the water agency and Yuba County and how the agency can help in Yuba County. So, what do you see as the Yuba Water Agency's strengths? Charlie?
The Yuba Water Agency's strength?
Strengths, yeah. What policies would you champion to build on them, and why are you the person to do that?
Well, I believe I'm the person to do that because I've had the most experience in water agency whole history. We've had, I believe, 5 different managers. I've served with all 5 of them. We have a very, very good team, and our biggest fear on our team is other people might try to pick them off. So our goal is to make sure that we keep them happy, engaged, and we think we've done a good job of that. In the future, we have to make sure that we retain the revenues from the power generation and water sales.
So, Randy, the same question.
So repeat that question.
What are the top 3 things you intend to address if you're elected? Or, excuse me, the question was, what do you see as the water agency's strengths? What policies would you champion if you are elected to that position?
So one of the, understand that Yuba County is growing. By the way, we're well over 80,000 in population and growing on a day-by-day basis. We're going to be a hub for a lot of growth in the near future. The agency has dollars. If you spend those dollars correctly and you leverage your dollars, what I saw while I was on the board of the water agency is being able to take a few $1,000,000 and turn it into tens of millions of dollars. There are both state and federal grants available for specific projects that match the agency act. We're able to apply for that money and strategically put those dollars. Charlie, have you got some dogs back here that you could control?
Big dog. It's not mine.
So the competition is not easy down here.
No competition. You guys have got the dogs wiped out.
So by leveraging our dollars and our experience and staying within the Agency Act, we have the potential. Currently, we are the envy of many counties throughout Yuba County, or excuse me, the state of California. Yuba County has dollars, and when you can leverage those dollars from $100 million into $200 or $300 million, you've done a great service for your community, and that's what we continue to do. Look for grants, look for matching dollars, money that the county doesn't have. Understand when they created the Yuba County Water Agency, it is its own entity. It is not county money. You can't turn these dollars over to the county to use it. It is only usable through the water agency. A few years ago, we changed the name for the public's sake and took county out of it, so it's the Yuba Water Agency, to help define that it is the agency itself, not a county entity, but its own entity. Now it's managing those funds with the mission of making it safer within Yuba County and the 2 primary issues, flood and fire. We have to focus in those areas, and that's what I'll be doing. But again, I'm the only representative in the foothills that lives with the fire on a day-to-day basis. It's easy to overlook it if you're not living in it. So you drive it every day, you see it every day. You work with the Fire Safe Council to make sure that there are funds available, that they continue to work. And that's one of the things I'm very attached to, is the Fire Safe Council.
Next question, are independent directors for North and South important to steering the agency? Why not just let the county supervisors do it? And we'll let Charlie take that one.
If you go back when Prop 17 came about and they lowered taxes, a man by the name of Marvin Cratter bought the Yuba Goldfields. He approached the supervisors to call the water in the goldfields independent of the river. Obviously, everybody knew it was part of the river, but 3 supervisors said, go ahead and we'll try to prove it. After we defeated that, and I was very involved in it, we came up with the idea of having 2 additional directors, so we would have a total of 7, which would get away from 3 supervisors making some bad mistakes. We championed it. We got first the approval of the supervisors, then went to Sacramento, had the Agency Act amended to have 2 members at large. We originally had the 2 members elected by what we called the Advisory Council, which was set up in the original act. And the Advisory Council, under the act we amended to it, is the Advisory Council would appoint 2 members, one from the north, one from the south. They would alternate each year. They'd only have a 2-year term, and the Advisory Council each year would elect elected to appoint the opposite one. I served in that time, and then we had the supervisors saying, well, we shouldn't have the Advisory Council, which was made up of every entity that was elected in the county. So in the Advisory Council, we had the city of Wheatland, the city of Marysville. We had OPUD, Linda. We had all the elected districts. Anyway, then they made it to be elected in general, and then the supervisors, obviously when they got ready to retire, had name recognition, and they became directors of the agency, even though they dropped out of being a supervisor. I'm proud of the fact that I was involved and actually started the idea of having a 7-member board instead of 5.
That's a relatively recent in terms of what, 20 years ago?
Came about in the 80s.
About when?
We changed the act, I believe, in the 77 drought when this came about, and it was 79 or 80 that we amended the act to have the 2 seats then appointed by the Advisory Council. And I served from 85 till, I believe, 89 as a director under that speaking.
Okay.
Just for clarity on that, it was 1992. If you'll check the Agency Act, it's clearly stated in there when that happened. And the act is here, but we can do that later. The question again for the public?
I would like to respond.
We can get back to that. Go ahead with what was the question initially?
Well, the question, obviously, the Yuba County Supervisors, the 5 Yuba County Supervisors are the most numerous members of the agency. So you have 5 votes, you're automatically elected as a county supervisor. You become a director of the agency. And the independent directors, that's what I'm asking, are independent directors for both north and south, and we see the area on the screen right now, are important to the agency. Why not just let the county supervisors do it?
So I think that was the legislature's intent when it was actually built in 1959. That's what they said, is just take the Board of Supervisors who were elected and let them oversee. During that 50-year interim where PG&E was running the operation, there wasn't much to run because PG&E was running the complete operation. It wasn't until the 90s that it was changed, where there were 2 added, north and south, which gave you 7. So it's additional input. Understand that no one board member, whether it's the agency or Board of Supervisors, really has any power. It comes from teamwork. I can tell you that that's always been foremost on my mind, is building teams. Whether it's within the board or within staff, you've got to have some team spirit. This is not a one-man operation. This isn't one person comes in and dictates over what should be done. It is a group of individuals that make that decision, and that's critical to our infrastructure. More people, great idea. There is a limit. Should we run with 10, 12, 15? Probably not. I think we're doing a tremendous job with the 7 that are there. That gives you a pretty good broad spectrum. But again, I think a representative from the foothills is really a critical piece of this. No one in the past has had that opportunity to live in the foothills and needs to represent the foothills. Everyone as it stands right now lives in the valley. So you need that variety of board members that bring a different perspective with different experiences to the table to discuss the benefit for Yuba County.
So I think Charlie wanted to rebut something there. We'll
Yes,
give him that opportunity.
the Agency Act, remember after the 77 drought, when they were going to give the water and the gold fields to the San Joaquin, we amended the act in 79, and the first person to serve under that was Art Bertolini from 80 to 82. So my opponent, Mr. Fletcher, is right. In 89, they amended the act again to make it a public election instead of a water agency advisory council.
Okay, very good. Next question, and that is, Yuba Water Agency is underwriting a number of things that on the surface of things seem to have little to do with specifically water storage, flood control, and power generation. Are there things that you disagree with that the agency has done or funded or maybe isn't doing?
No, I think they're right on point. I think they have, again, stayed very clear within the Agency Act to implement funds. The example that Charlie brought up earlier about the drainage that the state of California was willing to fund needed matching funds to actually implement the program in the Linda Oliphurst area. That was, there were 2 different projects. One was in the $60,000 range, or 60 million, excuse me. 60 million they came up with. The agency came up with 16 million of that county didn't have the funds. We didn't have discretionary funds to be able to do that. But because it had to do with the potential of flooding, and again, you have to know the definition of flood waters. As an insurance agent, I'm pretty clear on how all of that works. But because that matched the description of flood, that gave us the opportunity through the agency to take 16,000 and turn it into 16 million to turn it into 60 million, which was a huge asset for Yuba County. So they're doing the right things. We're leveraging our dollars to get the maximum we can with what we have to the benefit of Yuba County. I am very pleased with staff, very bright group. We hire the best. They have done a tremendous job, and they work very closely with Yuba County. So it's a matter of what are the needs, where are the issues, where are the grants, how can we match that? And between the two boards, the Board of Supervisors and the board from the Water Agency, approving those funds to be used to match up with the Agency Act, we've done a tremendous job for Yuba County.
Charlie, same question. The agency is underwriting a number of things that seem to, at least on the surface, have little to do specifically with water storage, flood control, and power generation. Are there things that the agency has done that other directors have implemented that you disagree with?
No, I've been very astute to make sure that we stayed within the Agency Act. But the Agency Act also lets us do environmental protection, both in the river and in the forest. So that's how we get the money from the agency to do the Blue Forest project. We also spend money on salmon habitat. And now we're trying to even get involved in the returning adult salmon. We have seen other agencies make tremendous strides in this area, and we would like to try to duplicate that as a newer project. We have also looked into the area called community aggregate, where we could lower the PG&E bills, not by very much, but when you look at your PG&E bill, there's a part of it that's called generation. It runs anywhere from 30 to 50% of your bill. If we have a community aggregate, which the agency cannot be, the community aggregates would have to be the city of Marysville, the city of Wheatland, and the county of Yuba. But we could do the guidance and the startup of this act, and we think we could then use that to lower people's PG&E bills. We're working on a lot of issues currently that I've been very involved with, both in instigating some of them and trying to push them through.
Tom McWhorter from Olivehurst keeps harping at both boards of supervisors and water agency meetings about utilizing the money instead of putting an atmospheric river lower spillway to put curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in Olivehurst. Is that something that the water agency should be doing more of instead of an arc spillway?
So before I go into that one, Ted, I want to make sure it's clear to the public. They understand that the CCA, the Community Choice Aggregate, really has nothing to do with the water agency. 6 years ago, I started doing the investigation into a CCA. I brought together multiple counties. We did the research. I asked the water agency to be kind of the lead in terms of the time and energy to take a close look at it. What we found at the time was there was probably a 5% difference in premium, up to maybe 7% for a reduction in rate. Understand your electric bill. Only 35% of your electric bill is the electricity. The 65% is the generation, additional transmission fees that are all tied to your bill. So the electricity is a smaller part of it. There are a number of unknowns that you have to look really closely at to see if it's worthwhile to make that transition. But it's the Board of Supervisors, not the Water Agency Board, that has any connection to a CCA. It's the Board of Supervisors that takes on the role to say, we're going to make the switch. If they do that, everyone is attached to a CCA. Water Agency has no attachment to that. So I think it's confusing to the public.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the water agency. No, it has nothing to do with the water agency. It is all Board of Supervisors.
In relation to that, a lot of people in the public think that the water agency should be getting into the let's supply you your electricity business.
Great question.
Can't do that.
And they can't do that. Clearly stated within the Agency Act, that is not their role. And if they did, again, you would find that each board member could be liable financially, if they make that decision, huge mistake that could cost the county and the board members. So, as an advisory from staff only to take a look at, are there benefits or not, to report back to the County Board of Supervisors wearing different hats saying, is this viable, is it worthwhile? But it's the Board of Supervisors clearly that makes that decision. And then once they do that, everyone's in it unless you want to actually not get into it. Okay.
Charlie, how could the agency supply power?
Number one, the agency sells their power through a group that's called CalISO. CalISO's prices most of the time are lower than PG&E's prices. So by the agency studying the project, we went to bid and hired a consultant 2 years ago. The consultant's coming up with the final reports, and the agency will then have to turn that over to not only just the county, they have to turn it over to the city of Marysville and the city of Wheatland, because they're the people that the county cannot be the community aggregate for the two cities, as we understand it from the consultants.
So, is there something that we haven't asked that you think is important for folks to know? Take a minute and tell us.
I guess the most important thing that the people need to know is the water agency is a tremendous asset to the county, and they should always be involved in making sure that we protect the asset by not doing something that would alert Sacramento to try to dissolve it.
Well, I absolutely would agree with that. When you elect an official, the responsibility of that official is to take a close look at the details. They need to know how to read a contract. They need to work as a team together to build the infrastructure that's already built from the foundation of the Agency Act, working closely with the Act, the board, and the highly trained professionals that the water agency has hired to come up with really good plans that leverage our dollars, that create the best opportunity for the citizens of Yuba County. Again, within the Act, it specifically talks about Yuba County, not other counties, not other districts. This is a Yuba County project. So when you elect your representative, it is incumbent upon that representative to understand how the Act, how the board, how the team as a group come to some of these decisions. And this is a long term. These items don't happen quickly. You have to take on a project and be willing to hang in there for the next 10 years to actually accomplish it. That's where the biomass plant that started almost 10, 12 years ago is finally coming to fruition. It takes time. It takes cooperation and teamwork and focusing on all of this.
So, what question would you ask your competitor? No, go ahead. You got the mic. What would you ask Charlie?
Charlie, do you feel that the projects that you would work on, you will be here for the next 10 years to sit on the board, to have the energy, the time, the ability to travel? I do know that you were appointed to a number of committees when I was on the board that you didn't go to, that you weren't part of. We asked you to be interactive, like Mountain County Water, and then never participated. So I took the lead role in that because you did not. And it led us to some great opportunities, including the Blue Forest project. Those are the things that are really critical. It takes.
Make it a question, Randy. Make it a question.
Will you be available to really put in the energy to travel as necessary to get this accomplished?
He brings up a very interesting thought. When I was elected to the Water Agency, he appointed me to only one committee, and it was called the Marina Committee. And the way that I couldn't participate was how the other committees were reacting. So I found a way in the Brown Act that I could attend a committee meeting, meaning there would be 4 directors in the room, but under strict control. I could not sit at the table, and I could not make any faces or any comments. And I attended many of those meetings so I could understand what was happening in the water agency. And then Randy was upset that I could attend. Not that that is carried forward, but he appointed me to the Mountain Committee. I went to their meetings, and when the second year came about, he unappointed me. So we have a divergent views on the way board of directors should be. So now we have instituted a new director comes on. We have a whole process of him learning all about all the aspects of the district so he can be a participating member. We didn't have that when I was elected under Randy's thing, but we've made headway in that area. As far as him saying I can't travel, I travel a lot. I've been many places. Example, when I was on the first time, we went to Washington, Jay McGill and Don Wilson and myself. First time Don Wilson ever been to one. We testified before the Senate committee and the House committee about Yuba County getting a study made for levees. That study led when we had money later that funded the startup of all of the major levee projects south of Marysville. I'm very proud that when I went to Washington, I'd been there many times before, I was able to take Don Wilson and Jay McGill to not just the committees, but to people on the committees that I knew that gave us a front row seat in them. And I still have the ability to foresee what's coming in the future, and I think that...
What question would you ask Randy?
I guess I would ask Randy if when he was chairman, he was not trying to include people. And we don't have that thought anymore in the agency. And I'm very proud that we have that thought, and it wasn't...
Is there a question there?
My question would be to Randy. Do you feel bad that you didn't have a program for new directors to understand what the agency was about?
Charlie, we had all kinds of programs to help directors, but they had the opportunity. Staff worked with each of them. The director of the agency met with each one of those directors, giving them background. I was available as chair or vice chair to any one of those and took everyone that wanted that input and gave them input. Those that said, I don't want the input, then there wasn't any. I will remind you that Don Wilson has been gone for over 25 years. So when you were working with Don Wilson, that was 25 years ago. Moving forward, it does take a lot of energy. Like tomorrow, can you jump on a plane, spend a week, and work out of Washington, D.C. on any particular project? I've been doing that for the last 8 years. It does take a lot of travel and a lot of energy to go after these issues between Sacramento, Los Angeles, the West Coast, and the East Coast. Different committees that really focus on water, and it takes a tremendous amount of energy and time to do that. So no, I think there are some great programs.
In our final moments, we're going to have you wrap up.
So I think that you really have to understand the foundation of the water agency, be willing to work as a team, stay within the limits of what the water agency foundation is, find new projects, and then implement those projects. Ideas are kind of a dime a dozen. You can have lots of ideas, but it takes more than an idea to get things done. You have to focus and really put energy, find a team, find the dollars, work with the agency, work with the county, work with the other cities, build groups, coalitions, and then make things happen. That's how it happens. I am very proud of the things that I did as a Board of Supervisor and through the water agency to create a difference and a change. And it's made a lot of difference within our communities.
Charlie, your closing thoughts?
I thank the people of Yuba County for electing me for the last 2 terms. I am fully capable of progressing further. I have come up with many ideas over my last 7.5 years on the agency, and I feel that I've not only been beneficial to the agency, I have moved the agency to where it is today. And I thank all the people for listening and hearing both of our views.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And that is the replay of the Yuba Water Agency North candidates. And in just a few minutes, we'll have the Marysville Unified School Trustees from Area 1 and 2 coming up at about 8:10 p.m. Have a little adjustments to make here. Our broadcast brought to you presented by Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties, with support from Edible Memories Bakery in Marysville and people like you.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties.
Thinking good vibes one day at a time. At Edible Memories, life is sublime. In every bite, you'll find a dream. Join us now, let your heart beat. Step inside, sharing the fun. Edible Memories Bakery, where happiness runs.
Edible Memories Bakery, 321 3rd Street, Marysville. EdibleMemoriesBakery.com. And we thank Ellen Culver at the City of Marysville for helping make arrangements for our use of Christmas Tree Park, and to Skip Birch of Skip's Music Cafe on D Street for the loan of chairs. And we also thank people like you for helping to support some of the activities that we engage in here. I'm Ted Langdell, and coming up in just a moment or two, we'll have the Marysville Unified School Trustees Area 1 and 2 replay, brought to you in just a moment or two right here on Yuba-Sutter.live.
Yuba-Sutter.live. It's the truth that comes through.